What up, it's me, A2Z, and we're back with the final part of my top 25 favorite Pokemon. Last time, we covered entries 12 through 6. This time, it's the big one, the one you've all been waiting for. Today, we're going over the top 5. Again, if you want to know the ground rules of this countdown and the criteria I use in ranking the Pokemon, make sure you check out the first part. Links to the previous 2 parts are in the description. Also, this is the top 5, and I've got a lot to say about these 5 Pokemon, so these entries will be longer than the previous 20. Anyway, enough stalling. It's time to reveal my top 5 favorite Pokemon of all time. We kick off the top 5 with one of, if not, the noblest Pokemon to ever exist. Gallade has entered the court. Bow before his majesty. Now, I was not a stranger to using a Ralts before Gallade was introduced. Back when Ruby and Sapphire came out, I remember using a Gardevoir on my team. Gardevoir was certainly a powerhouse, a very competent psychic type to say the least. However, yeah, that design could not be protected from the internet. Plus, while I am a fan of Gardevoir, no, not in that way, there were other psychic types that I preferred more, like Espeon, Exeggutor, and Alakazam. Then Diamond and Pearl came along and... whoa. That thing looks cool. Gallade was the evolution I had no idea that I wanted or needed so badly until I saw it for my own eyes. His design is... wow. The arm scythes, the head crest, the overall noble vibe he gives off. Gallade just screams gallant. I guess that explains the name, huh? As I mentioned with Mega Mewtwo X, Psychic Fighting is a very interesting typing that provides great offensive coverage and leaves him with only a few weaknesses. He's got access to powerful stab options such as Zen Headbutt, Psycho Cut, Drain Punch, and Close Combat that tear through foes, especially if he's able to get a Swords Dance boost. Not only that, but Gallade's move pool is very expansive, especially compared to Gardevoir's, with a very wide array of coverage options including Stone Edge, Knockoff, Leaf Blade, X-Scissor, Poison Jab, Earthquake, and the Elemental Punches. Gallade on his own does an excellent job of dealing damage, but in ORAS, Game Freak decided to make it even better at its job. Mega Gallade. Look at him. Just look at him. That cape is fucking majestic. And the arm sides, they look even cooler. Mega Gallade is one of the most majestic looking Pokemon in existence, there's no debating that. Those sides aren't just for show though. Mega Gallade boasts a deadly base 165 attack stat, making it capable of dealing severe damage, if not outright one-hit killing opponents. Mega Gallade also got a well-needed 30-point boost to both his speed and physical defense, making him much better at sweeping. Gallade was already decent in battle, but his Mega Evolution just made him so much better, not to mention much more regal. Gallade is honestly one of those Pokemon that I will always try and find a spot for on my team if I'm given the option. He's easily my favorite Psychic type and favorite Fighting type in all of Pokemon. I don't think this one really needs an introduction now, does it? Oh, where do I even begin with Garchomp? Well, for starters, it's a fan favorite Pokemon, and for very good reasons. First off, it's got one of the sickest designs of any Pokemon ever. Just look at it. It's a shark fused with a dragon. How could you find any fault with that? Also, and I'm sure I'm gonna shock some of you with this, the fins on Garchomp's arms actually allow it to fly. That's right, Garchomp has actually been shown to be able to fly. God, I wish you could learn fly in the games. That would have been incredible. Also, let me just quickly say that Gible is both ferocious and adorable. Look at this little guy. Look at him, he's gonna chomp on your head like it's nothing. So for Garchomp's competitive viability, I'm gonna just put up its base stat total and let that speak for itself. It might have slightly less attack than the other pseudos before it, but that speed stat matters. Base 102 speed allows it to outspeed a lot of things, especially if you give it a Choice Scarf. Garchomp's also pretty durable as well, so unless you hit it with an Ice-type move, odds are it's gonna survive at least one attack. It's got a very wide move pool with great coverage such as Fire Blast, Stone Edge, and Iron Head, and for its stab, it's got Dragon Claw, Outrage, and the highly coveted Earthquake. Access to the ability Rough Skin is also amazing. If an Earthquake doesn't one-hit kill an enemy, that residual damage might be enough to finish the job. What makes Garchomp really stand out is its versatility. It can run so many different sets, from straight up physical offense, to mixed sets, to even playing a defensive role. Because of this, Garchomp has a place on any team. Now, as if all that wasn't enough, Garchomp was also given a Mega Evolution. When Mega Garchomp was revealed, everyone thought it was going to be beyond broken. Then X and Y came out and Mega Garchomp ended up being worse than regular Garchomp? Yeah, I have no idea how they managed to do that. Oh no, wait, I do. That speed drop. 10 points might not seem like much, but going from 102 to 92 really does matter, given that a lot of Pokemon are within that speed tier. Pokemon that Garchomp outsped before Mega Evolving can now outspeed it, which can pose a problem. Don't get me wrong, Mega Garchomp is still extremely ferocious. I mean, look at those attack stats. This thing can one-hit kill so many things with a good Earthquake or Outrage, and it's even a lot better at using special attacks. However, that speed drop was enough to have people consider its base form better, including me. Now, despite a slightly underwhelming Mega Evolution and a completely pointless Shiny, saying that Garchomp is a competitive king is an absolute understatement. I always use Garchomp on my team every time I replay Platinum. Every single time. That's how good it is, and that's how much I love using it. And the fact that you can catch a Gible ridiculously early in Platinum makes it that much better. I honestly don't blame Cynthia for using it as her signature Pokemon. Taking this thing down is a pain. Well, if you don't have a Weavile, but you got my point still. For these reasons, Garchomp secures itself as my favorite Sinnoh Pokemon and my 4th favorite Pokemon of all time. So I just gushed about how Garchomp is an unstoppable competitive king, but what's a king to a god? Alright, let's get this out of the way. I know all y'all are thinking, oh my god, Adam, Greninja's not #1, he's one of your channel's mascots, he's your Smash Man, you turned him into a deity, praise me to Snoop Frog. Yeah, I know, but just hang on, let me explain myself. I know I swore my allegiance to Snoop Frog a few years ago, but honestly, I've got a stronger attachment to the 2 remaining entries on the list. Anyway, time to explain what exactly it is that I like about Greninja. Now strap yourselves in, we're gonna be here for a while. First of all, I love Greninja's design. When they started revealing the designs of the Kalos starters, I was a bit worried for Froakie. It looked alright, but I wasn't sure how he was going to turn out as he evolved. Then they revealed the second evolutions, and I started to get even more worried. Quilladin looked ridiculous, I was concerned in the direction they were taking breaks in, and Frogadier just looked lanky as all hell. And then the final forms were revealed. Chestnut looked decent. Delphox, get that thing out of my face, please. Anyway, let's see what they did with— oh my god, that thing looks cool! My fears about Froakie's fully evolved design were thrown right out the window when I saw Greninja for the first time. I was afraid he was going to look absolutely stupid, but my god did Ken Sugimori pull through. The sleek design, the color scheme, hell, I even think the tongue scarf is a cool touch. Plus, turning it into a ninja was a very nice touch. I've always liked ninjas, and they were able to pull off a Ninja Frog without overdoing it. And oh lord, have they overdone it with some designs. Greninja's not only the coolest Kalos starter, it's also the most competitively viable, by far. Greninja holds the honor of being not only the fastest starter Pokemon, but also the fastest water type and the fastest dark type in the entire metagame. This is a big deal because water types are usually bulky and slow, but Greninja completely wrecks that archetype by being extremely quick, albeit a bit frail. Its defenses, while not titanic, are nothing to laugh at either. While base 95 attack and base 103 special attack might not seem like much to people, let me draw your attention to this right over there. Protean, Greninja's hidden ability. Now, as I'm sure you know, Protean changes the user's type based on the move it uses. This effectively means that Greninja will get stab on any move that it uses, greatly improving its offensive prowess. Not only that, but given Greninja's very high speed, the type change can come very much in handy when it comes to resisting opposing moves. Greninja's very wide move pool makes it an amazing user of Protean with moves such as Ice Beam, Gunk Shot, U-Turn, Grass Knot, Dark Pulse, and Hydro Pump. It's even got access to Spikes and Toxic Spikes, and with that high speed, it can be an amazing trap setter while changing its type to resist its key weaknesses. Now I know you guys are all thinking, okay Adam, we get it, Greninja's a competitive guy, but oh, I'm not even done yet. I haven't even mentioned the new toy that Greninja got in Gen 7. Remember that form that debuted in the anime that we all thought was going to be anime exclusive? Pokemon Sun and Moon gave us Ash Greninja with the special ability of Battle Bond. Basically, to activate it, you'll have to knock out an opponent as normal Greninja, which will trigger the transformation. You'll have to sacrifice Protean, but honestly, it shouldn't be too much of a big deal. Greninja hits hard enough as it is. Anyway, let me direct your attention to Ash Greninja's stats right over there. Yeah, it's basically a Mega Evolution. Ash Greninja's attack stats have skyrocketed, and it even gets a nice speed boost, allowing it to outspeed base 130 Pokemon. Not only that, its signature move of Water Shuriken gets buffed. It does more damage and will always hit 3 times. With Stab, you basically have a 90 base power multi-hit priority move. Saying that Greninja is popular would be a massive understatement. It earned a spot in Smash, it's one of Ash's most prominently featured Pokemon in the Kalos arc of the anime, it got its own exclusive form, hell, it even won a Pokemon election in Japan back in 2016. And speaking of Smash, I have to briefly mention Greninja's history in Smash, since he is my main. Now, I honestly never saw myself maining Greninja when Smash 4 came out. I just decided to play him one day and we just clicked. Greninja was considered a high-tier character in Smash 4 with a respectable combo game, but a very high learning curve, which turned people off from trying him. He was good, but there were other characters that were better, which unfortunately caused him to have really low representation. Us Greninja mains in Smash 4 were a rare breed. And then Ultimate came out and... oh my god, he's top tier. Greninja was immensely buffed in Ultimate. His kill power is better, his frame data has improved, and his combo game is top class. His representation is so much better now in Ultimate, and he's widely considered a top 10 character. Okay, now I think that's everything. In closing, Greninja is hands down my favorite water type and my favorite Kalos Pokemon of all time. I can't think of a better way to close out this entry than to recite the prayer dedicated to the great deity himself. Praise be to Snoop Frog. And now for an entry I'm sure many of you aren't expecting. That's right, Tyranitar is my second favorite Pokemon of all time. I remember the first time I saw Larvitar. It was during my first playthrough of Pokemon Silver when I was about 9 years old. I made it to Mount Silver, I was on my way to fight Red, and on the way there, I ran into this cool looking Pokemon. I thought, dang, this thing looks cool, I want to catch it. Little did I know that this little guy was Johto Pseudo-Legendary. It might start off a bit generic, being a rock ground type that's strong and bulky, yet a bit slow. Hell, I'll even admit I'm not the biggest fan of Pupitar. But oh boy, when my Pupitar evolved, I was not expecting this. When I saw Tyranitar for the first time, I was impressed and relieved. Tyranitar basically took Larvitar's already cool and admittedly a bit adorable design and cranked up the badass levels to 11. The armored hide, the spikes, the stature. Tyranitar just screams intimidating. It's no surprise that it's a popular choice among talented trainers. Tyranitar is just as intimidating in battle with the unique typing of Rock Dark, giving it a very respectable stab combination, very strong defenses, ridiculously strong base 134 physical attack, and excellent coverage with its very wide attacking move pool, including Stone Edge, Crunch, Pursuit, Earthquake, Iron Head, and the Elemental Punches. At base 61, its speed is somewhat lacking, but honestly that's not such a bad thing since Tyranitar is more about tanking hits and responding with raw damage. However, Tyranitar is capable of learning Dragon Dance via breeding, so if you want it to sweep, it's definitely capable of doing so. Its bulk is high enough to survive at least one turn to set up. As you could guess, Tyranitar is an extremely versatile Pokemon given its stats and its move pool. It can sweep, it can be a bulky attacker, or it can have a support role. It's not easy to predict exactly what kind of Tyranitar you'll be fighting, and that just adds to its ferocity. Unsurprisingly, due to its popularity, Tyranitar was also given a Mega Evolution, and the best way to describe it is Tyranitar on steroids. Mega Tyranitar is more or less the exact same as its regular form, just with higher stats. It hits harder, it takes hits better, and it's slightly faster, making it better at using Dragon Dance. That's pretty much it. Now that isn't necessarily a bad thing, since Tyranitar is normally a competitive monster, but in all honesty, your Mega Slot is better used on another Pokemon. Now while I love Tyranitar to death, the only gripe I have concerning its evolutionary family is how difficult it is to come by in the games. In every game it's available, except for Heart Gold and Soul Silver, Y, and Ultra Sun and Ultra Moon, Larvitar is only available in the post-game. And even then, in the games where you can get it in the main story, it's very difficult to come by, being available in only one location and having an extremely low encounter rate. There are so many games where I want to use Tyranitar in my team, but couldn't until after defeating the Pokemon League. Now, while I don't blame Game Freak for doing this since Tyranitar is an insanely powerful Pokemon, it kinda sucks how difficult it is to find my second favorite Pokemon of all time. However, when I finally do catch a Larvitar and raise it up, it feels incredibly rewarding. As if you guys didn't know who number one was gonna be from the start. Oh boy, let's see how many people are gonna give me flack for being a Charizard fan. Okay, look, to all of you Charizard haters out there, and I know there are quite a few of you, I get it. You think he's overrated. Plus, a lot of the fanboys won't shut up about how great Charizard is, and they'll relentlessly bash other people for not agreeing with them. Quick message to my fellow Charizard fans, this is something you guys really need to work on. Like, this is half of the reason people hate Charizard. Anyway, I get it, but please, just hear me out. Charizard is my all-time favorite Pokemon for many reasons. To start, it's honestly one of the coolest looking Pokemon in existence. I know its design is pretty simplistic for today's standards, but back in the day, any kid could look at a fire-breathing dragon and instantly think it was awesome. Sure, it faced competition from the giant turtle with water cannons on its back and whatever Venusaur is supposed to be. I know it's a dinosaur with a giant flower on its back, but it hops around like it's a freaking frog. But my point is, I was one of those kids who was extremely impressed by Charizard's design. Now, funny enough, even though it looks like a dragon, it ain't a dragon. It's a fire flying type. When I found this out as a kid, I was shocked and I felt a bit cheated. However, that didn't stop me from using Charizard at any opportunity that I had. Next up, let me explain Charizard's tumultuous competitive history, because it's another huge reason why it's my all-time favorite Pokemon. Charizard has seen some good times and some very rough times. In the early days, it was considered dangerous, but not much of a huge threat. Sure, it's fast, its special attack is nothing to laugh at, it's got a decent move pool, and sets like Belizard existed, but it was pretty frail and outclassed by certain Pokemon. Then Gen 4 came in and shot Charizard right in the wings with the advent of Stealth Rock. Because of Stealth Rock and the overall buff that Rock types got, Charizard saw a large decrease in competitive viability and was actually the least used Kanto starter for quite a while. At that point, I didn't have that much competitive knowledge, but it still hurt to know that my favorite Pokemon had fallen from grace. Then on September 2013, a month before the release of Pokemon X and Y, things changed. With the reveal of Mega Evolution still fresh in our minds, we wondered what other Pokemon would be blessed with this gift, and lo and behold, Charizard was one of them. We were first introduced to what we now know as Mega Charizard Y. It looks pretty cool, has insane power, and its new ability of Drought was a godsend. Mega Charizard Y has proven itself to be a very potent wall breaker. Now, while I was impressed with Megazard Y, it wasn't exactly what I wanted. This would have been the perfect time to make Charizard a Dragon type. Come on, Game Freak, opportunity missed. However, 1 month later, the planets aligned and every single Charizard fan was given their greatest desire since the days of Pokemon Red and Blue. Mega Charizard X. Oh god, where do I begin? First of all, Charizard was blessed with 2 Mega Evolutions, with Mewtwo being the only other Pokemon given to, so that's a big deal. Its design is... oh my god, he's so goddamn cool! And now the earth-shattering factor that would change everything for Charizard fans worldwide. As I mentioned with Reshiram, Fire Dragon is an amazing type combination, both offensively and defensively. You know, I think I know why they didn't make Charizard a Fire Dragon type from the beginning. Probably would have been broken in a game like Red and Blue. Its stat spread and ability of Tough Claws finally allowed Charizard to take advantage of its expansive physical move pool, including Flare Blitz, Earthquake, Dragon Claw, Outrage, Iron Tail, and Thunder Punch. And as if all of that wasn't enough, it's got access to Dragon Dance. Megazard X is one of the best Dragon Dancers in the entire metagame. I can't even count how many teams I've swept with my Megazard X. These 2 Mega Evolutions were exactly what Charizard needed to rise back up to the top after years of being overshadowed. Charizard is unsurprisingly one of the most popular Pokemon in existence, being heavily represented in spin-off games, being a playable fighter in Smash, and being one of Ash's most powerful and prominently featured Pokemon in the anime. I'm not gonna go too much into detail about Ash's Charizard because we'll probably be here for another 10 minutes, but just know that I always look forward to watching it in battle. Plus, the dynamic between Ash and Charizard was extremely interesting, as it went from having zero respect for Ash to being one of his most trusted partners. Charizard's preferential treatment could be a reason why some people aren't a huge fan of it, which I totally understand. However, with it being one of the original 3 starters, it's no surprise that it's beloved by many trainers around the world, including myself. Now to close this entry, I'd like to explain the most important reason why Charizard is my favorite Pokemon of all time. I remember the day I put Pokemon Red into my Game Boy Color for the first time. Choosing my starter was not a difficult decision at all. I saw Charmander sitting on that table in Oak's lab and I was sold instantly. That Charmander was the star of my team. I always made sure it was my strongest Pokemon. As it got stronger and evolved, I got more attached and prouder of its achievements. Then when it finally evolved into Charizard, I felt so accomplished. All that hard work I put into training it was totally worth it in my mind. I had a powerful giant fire dragon in my possession, and I truly felt with this guy on my side, I could be a Pokemon master. The point of this little story is that I have such a strong attachment to the Charmander family since Charmander was the very first Pokemon I ever raised. It's even more significant because Pokemon Red was the very first video game I ever played. Pokemon is such an important video game series to me. Hell, I wouldn't have made this countdown if it didn't matter to me as much as it does. The fact that Charizard was the first Pokemon I ever raised and was the star of the team of my very first Pokemon journey was instrumental in cementing its spot as my favorite Pokemon of all time. Every single Pokemon fan has a Pokemon that holds the honor of being their very first starter. Whether you started with the Hoenn games and raised a Swampert, or if you're new to the series and ended up having Rowlet as your very first Pokemon, the Pokemon you chose at the start of your very first journey tends to have a special place in your heart. For me, that Pokemon is Charizard. And that'll do it, ladies and gentlemen. Those are my top 25 favorite Pokemon of all time. First and foremost, I want to apologize with how long production of this countdown took. To say that I've had a lot going on in my life these past 9 months would be a hell of an understatement. However, I'm glad that I was finally able to get this countdown done, and I'm so glad I was able to share it with you guys. Next, I need to give a huge shout out and a huge thank you to Sylph Spectre. Sylph is a good friend of mine, and he contributed immensely to the production of this countdown. I wouldn't have been able to get this countdown done without his help and support. He's a great guy, he makes quality content. I'll leave links to his YouTube and Twitch channels in the description below. And last and most importantly, I want to thank you guys for watching. I hope you enjoyed watching this as much as I enjoyed producing it. If you enjoyed this countdown, tell a friend about it. If you know somebody who you think would enjoy this countdown as much as you did, send it to them. I honestly couldn't ask for anything more than that. As for the future of my channel, I will be returning to content creation more regularly, hopefully. And I've got another countdown in the works. I'll give you guys more details on that in the future. For all my longtime viewers, I will be returning to my Okami Let's Play in the near future, so look forward to that. And last but not least, I've got a huge project coming up. Easily one of the biggest undertakings I've ever done for my YouTube channel. I can't really tell you guys about it yet, and very few people know what it is, but I hope to give you guys more information as time goes on. I'm so excited to get this project ready for you guys, and I hope you're excited for it. But until then, this has been my top 25 favorite Pokemon of all time, and this is A to Z, signing off.